There's a kind of game I don't really get to play anymore. Back in the early to mid 2000s, I was a student, and when I'd go home for summer holidays, one of my favourite things to do was go and hang out with a particular friend who really had a good habit of picking up weird second-hand games that I'd never heard of. Now, I discovered loads of great games this way, and my favourites were probably the ones I'd describe as, and this is a little bit unkind, Japan jank games. So things like Kessen 2, Way of the Samurai, Shinobi Do. These were games that clearly had low budgets, they weren't very technically impressive, they didn't really get a lot of coverage or review very well, but at the same time these games really clicked with me. They often had really interesting systems or mechanics that just made them interesting. And a lot of them became some of my favourite and most memorable games of that era. Now, it's been a long old while since I've played a game that had that sort of energy. And just to be really clear, like the game we're talking about today isn't a low budget Japan jank game. It clearly is very accomplished both technically and artistically. But playing it reminds me of one. The gameplay systems, although they sound familiar at first, are actually quite interesting in how they're gelled together, and it really isn't like anything else I've played, and I really love it for that. Today, I want to tell you what's so good about Kunitsu Gami, Path of the Goddess. So, what is Kunitsu Gami? Set in a fictional region of feudal-era Japan, a mountain has become defiled due to the greed of its inhabitants. The goddess's mission is to purge the defilement from each village on the mountain. You play as a character named So, who is the goddess's companion, and your job is to carve a path through villages to reach a gate at the end where she can purify the corruption. And of course there is a catch. The goddess moves really slowly through the village as she's purging it, and as day turns to night, monsters known as the Seethe flood into the village and try to stop her. So, as a character, is no slouch and is armed and ready to fight. And this is a Capcom game, so the combat feels quite reminiscent of some of their character action games. You've got light and heavy attack strings, dodges, parries, stuff like that. Additionally, each village has a small population, but they have also been taken by the corruption. So the idea is that you use the daytime to seek them out and cleanse them, and then you can assign them jobs that will help defend the goddess. These jobs are simple to start out with, such as woodcutters who can use their axes to fight the creatures, and also archers who are better at dealing with the flying enemies. Over the course of the game, the jobs get more specialised and interesting. And then to manage all of this, there's a surprisingly intuitive interface for issuing commands to the villagers. Ultimately, it's a bit like a tower defense game, except with people instead of buildings. In between stages, So and the villagers can work to repair things, which earns you currency that you can use to power up and increase the abilities of So and the jobs that you assign to the villagers. There's a lot more to it than this, but I want to try and leave that sense of discovery to you because, well, that's probably one of the best parts of the game. So what is so good about Kunitsu Gami? The main thing for me is how the game keeps throwing new stuff for you. Every single stage, the game will either open up a new tool to use or new tricks for the enemies. There might be a restriction on your abilities in some way, or there might be another gimmick of some kind that makes it different to the levels that have come before. And ultimately, what this means is you have to change up your strategy on each stage. And I do want to keep the details light here because, like I've said just now, the discovery is my favourite part, not just of this game, but any game. But I really want to give you a little basic idea. So here I am in an early stage of the game, and as you can see, this red gate here is where the enemies come from. This is the only place they can appear. So this gives me time to get used to the controls and how I command my villagers. I can try the different jobs that I'm unlocking and stuff like that. And then as I go a little bit further through the game and I'm just starting to feel a bit comfortable and thinking that maybe actually this is a bit straightforward and simple, suddenly the game starts dropping these. These are like additional entry points for enemies that randomize between each day-night cycle. This really spices things up and it increases the challenge in a much more interesting way than just giving me harder enemies or more enemies or whatever. As you progress through the game, then you get other things you might have to do. There might be a stage that's completely in the dark and you can't really see very much. Or you might be on a boat where your movement is really limited and your options for setting up defences are more limited. Some of these changes are limited to a single stage, others then become permanent additions to the game rules from that point on, and you're never really sure how it's going to go. And really I find this very clever. Not only does it keep you engaged by having to constantly change how you approach and think about the game, but it also makes the learning curve nice and smooth as the complexities of the encounters ramp up through the course of the game. Another thing Kunitsu Gami gets right is the freedom it offers in terms of experimentation. Like I said earlier, you earn a currency to upgrade your villagers and your character and other stuff, but the game always lets you unspend that currency without penalty whenever you like. So this is really great, I think, because it lets you really experiment. You might be doing a stage where you really need a lot of archers, but you haven't leveled them up yet, so you can just take the points out of your woodcutters, put them into your archers, make them strong for one stage, and then swap it back afterwards. It feels very organic and fair, and it really feels like the developers actually want you to have fun experimenting with the tools they've given you more than anything else. And this is also true for the side missions. So every time you complete a stage, it will unlock a series of side missions for that stage, allowing you to replay it in a specific way to earn more rewards. And you can complete some of these by accident, maybe the first time you get through, but they do often require you to play in a very specific way, or they're engineered to show you things about the mechanics that you might not have realized before. So again, just like with how the game introduces new mechanics and gimmicks, the side quests push you into learning about the game or trying to play it in a different way, and it's really, really good. And then on top of that, the rewards you get for completing these side missions are often gear or other items that grant you new abilities that further inspire you into trying new ways of playing. So to give an example of this, I've cleared the game a few times, but on my most recent New Game Plus playthrough, I wanted to see, thanks to some items I'd unlocked, whether I could complete the whole game without using the villagers. So essentially playing it completely solo and using a particular combo of gears and upgrades, I could do that. It was very tricky, but it was also very satisfying. This layer of expression and freedom is something I really love about the game. Finally, I think I just have to talk about the obvious amount of passion and care that went into creating Kunitsu Gami. It's an extremely unique game visually and orally, and I just loved losing myself in the world, and it really feels like the team who created it were proud of what they made. So not only is there like an in-universe way to look at the models and look at the incredibly detailed monsters, and there's these food items you can get to give to the goddess, but each of those things then has its own detailed lore that you can read, great little stories between the characters. The game has a really strong cultural flavour, and it just oozes creative energy. It's a beautiful, unusual little game, and I love it. After I completed it the first time, I discovered there's a series of mini documentaries on the Capcom YouTube channel. I'll link those somewhere. I learned some cool stuff there, like how they built scale models for all the buildings and all the scenery. They hired a stage lighting expert to help them get the firework special effects right. They even tailored the costumes for real to help with the modeling and animation. Like, it's no wonder the game feels like it's got so much heart. It's a seriously impressive piece of work, and it's rare to see like a passion project like this get greenlit, and I think you'll agree we'd love to see it. So there we go. There's a lot more detail I could go into. I could literally gush about this game for hours and hours, but I think for the purpose of this spoiler-free little review thing, that's enough, right? If you want to see a little bit more about how the game works, I've linked an over-explained Let's Play of the first few hours down below. But in case it wasn't clear, you really, really need to play this game. It's just stupendously good. Thank you ever so much for listening. I'll catch you in the next one.